Hey, welcome to the video this week. This is Dan from Binaural Recording Sights and Sound, and today I want to talk a little bit about some of my equipment that we have around here. So I have a lot of equipment items that I use in production of my videos, but I've not really discussed any of it. So this is going to be my time to kind of just open, talk, and ramble about certain equipment items that I have come across that have helped me be able to produce the videos that I make for you guys. So the first thing I want to really go off of is the base of the whole kind of operation here. This is my Spider belt. So it's made by a company called Spider. So Spider Camera Holsters is what it says on the top up there. You can kind of see it right here in this little badge. This sturdy belt has the ability to holster certain equipment items that you might come across. They have a much more consumer-friendly variant, which is the small one that's made of plastic. However, this full belt range is designed for like a DSLR camera. And in fact, you can't just buy just the belt itself without getting a special camera plate for a DSLR camera. I don't use any DSLR cameras on the channel yet at the moment, but I've found that this belt has been very useful for being able to move around equipment items in a lightweight capacity while allowing me to keep my hands free and open. Originally, I started off with this small little Spider holster. This one was designed to just be put on or through your belt. So it has like these little belt loops that you can kind of put through there. And it's designed for smaller type of equipment, like little point and shoots. In this fact, I use it for some of my phone holsters. So this is one of my phone holders for handheld shooting with my phone. It uses a Peak Design phone clamp on there because I use the Peak Design case on my phone. The holster system comes with these little nubs. These little metallic nubs that you kind of see here on this thing here allows you to attach it to the bottom of certain camera equipments to allow them to be holstered in this setup here. So you can kind of see through this lever system here, it goes on the top, slides in and locks, and then it's on there. It's not actually going to come up, it's actually locked on there, and it works pretty well for what it needs to do. To release it, you just push this red lever up, and that allows you to pick up the item. It makes it very easy to quickly holster stuff. For smaller gear, this one here is pretty useful because it's compact, it doesn't take up a lot of space, it's easy to stow it away, but for heavier stuff, you definitely want to switch to a bigger belt system. I like using the belt system as well because it's kind of like my utility belt when I make these recordings, as it allows me to hook all sorts of other equipment items that are useful on there. So not only does this have the platform here for your camera or for whatever other equipment you have, this is actually nice and it's made completely out of metal, this piece that's right here, compared to the other one, which is mostly made out of plastic with some metal reinforcements in certain small areas on this belt part here. But this belt holds up the weight a lot better. I find that when you put heavy stuff on this smaller one here, your belt doesn't really do a good job at making sure to balance the weight of whatever it is you're holding on it, and it will tend to like really pull your belt tight and make it tight around your waist in an uncomfortable way. This was the one that actually came with the tripod attachment. The tripod attachment is a special 2-prong adapter that I have put onto like monopods and tripods. This one keeps it from rotating or swiveling it around. That's why it has the 2 spots there. So this does come with that if you buy that. You probably want to try to find the lightest tripod you can get away with, just for the fact that it doesn't really cut your circulation off while you wear it, unless you want an upgrade to this belt. So the belt system, it's a lot nicer in just its overall fit, finish, and quality. But with the belt as well, you have the ability to either upgrade the belt to have 2 of these on it, so you can have one on both your left and right hip, or you could just buy the single one and you can find other upgrade pieces to be able to upgrade the belt. So like in this case here, I have these multiple different things. They allow me to hook certain things onto my belt or just have different interactions depending on what I need them for. The first thing we're going to be looking at is this Maxpedition Jumbo Dump Pouch. I think that's what it's called. This is a company that kind of makes heavy duty bags and equipment items, usually for like first responders and stuff like that. But this pouch here is very nice to have, as it rolls up and gets really compact, so it's not always having to be a problem when you have it on there. But when you actually unsecure it and fold it out, this is actually the perfect size for a Hydro Flask bottle. So you could put a Hydro Flask bottle. It will stick out the top, so it's not going to be able to latch over like with this. But the beauty of this pocket is there's actually a Velcro on the inside that you can actually tuck that in there so it's out of the way. So it's large enough to hold a Hydro Flask bottle, but it's saved me in a lot of other situations when I've been handed stuff, like when I was at a convention or something like that. And you know, people tend to like hand you business cards and things like that. It's like, I don't have anywhere to put this right now. I can just quickly tuck it into this pocket if I don't have a water bottle in there. So it's a convenient pocket to have, and I like that it rolls up nice and small and compact. It also fits on the belt, as you see here, through the belt loop. So you could just wear this on your belt if you didn't want to get the belt and use it with this. But I find that it's nice to have this on here, because then I can just quickly roll it all up when I don't need it, and it's up and out of the way. The next thing we have here is, this is a double key holder. This is actually designed for law enforcement officers in mind, to carry keys or handcuffs and stuff like that. This double clip design, it actually has a metal spacer in between it. It's hard to kind of show what it looks like on here, but it's a key ring. I'll put a link to it from Amazon here. None of these links I'm going to be putting on here are going to be affiliate links, but this actually has a metal bracket between here to keep the spacing of these at the perfect size or distance that they need to be. The reason why I have this on there is so that I can put my Zoom F3 field recorder on there. So this, in the strut field case that I have for it, has these little D-rings on the ends here, and they're at this specific distance away, which turns out to be the perfect distance that these go, allowing me to clip it onto there so that allows it to hang. I originally was putting the Zoom F3 directly on the belt itself, but anytime I needed to change the batteries out or anything like that, you had to pretty much take the whole belt apart. And to take the belt apart, it does have a little Velcro closure here, so this is actually like a double thickness belt. So in order to take it apart, you would actually have to take this off, unvelcro the whole thing, slide these onto the things that you want to use them, and then you would reattach the belt down to where you would hook it back up here. So that's what this is. This is a double key holder, but the distance and width that it holds the two prongs together or far apart fits the strut field case perfectly. I'll talk about the strut field case maybe another time on that, because that's another kind of thing I want to talk about. But the next thing we're going to be talking about is this little red pouch on the front here. I was wanting to put a pouch on the front, and I actually had like multiple different ideas for something, because I needed something that I could stow the binaural microphones when it's not in use. So something that would allow it to curl up, coil up, put into there. Originally, I used one of these small circular pouches that I have fit on to this one here. This small circular pouch is actually designed for tobacco. Like, it holds like one of those little tobacco canisters that you can put in there. So it's a small pouch. I didn't like the way that it fit the headphones for my headset that I have here, the SonicPresence. I didn't like how it fit inside there, because it was not very well designed for it. It kind of like had to crush them to put them in there. It's convenient when I'm wearing it around the neck like this, but it's definitely not something that I would want to put the headphones into every single time, which is why I was looking for something else that would fit the bill on that. I had a couple other different pouches before this one, but none of those really worked as best as this one does. So this is a brand called Legend, and this is the XT520. This is actually designed for archery. It's designed to hold your bow release apparatuses that you would use to like pull back the string, and then you push on a button and it would release the string. So it's designed to hold those. But the cool part about this is it has this cinch closure on here to allow you to kind of throw stuff into the opening on it and then cinch it closed. Inside of here, it's actually completely felt lined, like it's a really soft felt material. I wouldn't want to put like open exposed lenses in there, but if it was clean and you needed to throw something in there real quick, you could easily throw that in there. I use this pouch here because of its structure. It has a light crush resistance. It's not real heavy, like you can crush it if you push down on it. It just kind of, it holds its shape. And I like that it kind of has a little bit of cushion to it, so I could put stuff in here that are delicate and it would be able to hold it fairly well. So inside here, it does have a zipper on the back here. I actually had to put a zipper suppressor on it because it didn't have one. And when walking around, if your zipper doesn't have a zipper suppressor on it, you can hear the jingle of the zipper when you're walking around with the binaural headset on. So I put that on there to kind of keep it quiet as you're moving around with it, and it definitely works a lot better now because of it. On the back here, I have a lens wipe. Very useful in situations. We use this a lot when we went to Yosemite, or Yosemite, however you want to pronounce it. We went there, and when we were playing around the waterfalls, we definitely had a lot of water drops on the lens. And because of that, I needed a lens cleaner. So I have one of those inside of here. Inside the main pouch, there's a small divider flap, so you can actually have stuff on one side of it and then stuff on the other side of it, and it kind of flips between it. This allows you to put some other things inside here. Like oftentimes I put inside there my sync snapper. So this is just a little dog clicker, like when the dog does good, you click it. That allows me to synchronize my audio between all the different cameras and items that I have here. Other things you can put inside here, just anything that you kind of want. I put the spiky feet for my tripod in here in case I'm in an area where I need to put spike feet on instead of the rubber feet, so that it digs into the grass or ground wherever you're putting it. Definitely useful to have those with you, and since they don't store in the tripod very well and you want to have them on your person, having some sort of pouch to be able to throw them in is nice and convenient. With that double divider that you have in there, you can actually put those along the front side of the pouch and then kind of flip the flap over, and that allows you to put the binaural headphones on the other side so they don't bang against anything else. Overall, it keeps it fairly well defended, and I like this pouch. There are potential better pouches out there. Like, I kind of wish that this had some sort of like elastic spring to it, because it doesn't. It just has this rope material to it, so when you pull on this to actually cinch it down, it kind of cinches down kind of strangely, and you have to like readjust and level out the fabric material to allow it to work better, especially when you're trying to open it too. Like when you're trying to open it, you kind of have to pull in all directions to be able to get it to really open up there nice and good. So that's some of the other accessories on my belt. Let's talk more about the holster ability of this belt that we have here. So some of the things that I use and carry with me on various occasions can be different types of equipment. Whether it's like my simple phone holster, this allows you to hook it onto the belt, which is convenient. But other things I also tend to carry with me, maybe a tripod or a monopod. This is a 3-legged thing. I forgot what this is, an Allen 2.0, I think, or something like that. But overall, it's an okay monopod. It's definitely not my favorite, but it works for what it needs to do. I just wish that it was a lighter monopod for the most part. But with its tripod mount that we have on there, which also works for monopods, this allows you to then hook it into the belt there to allow it to have a nice sturdy connection and not rotate when it's on your hip. It does make a little bit of clicking noise if you're moving around a lot, but overall it's a small price to pay to not have to constantly hold this in your hand every single time that you want to go somewhere with it. Keeps your hands free, especially when you're on mountains and other things and wanting to climb or wanting to interact with something like at a fair. You definitely want something that can holster your equipment. Some of the other things that I've put on here, my parabolic microphone set. So this is a equipment item that I've kind of put together with multiple different pieces and parts to be able to handle a parabolic microphone dish from Clover Mics. It's called a Soundshark. They're a small company and all of their stuff is made in America. Their solutions to stuff is kind of like, it's close to what you need it, but you really need to kind of think about the other pieces that you're going to get if you're wanting to make this a useful tool in your arsenal. I use it to capture bird noises, animal noises, other things like that, and it really works very well in panel recordings. Speaking of panel recordings, this weekend we have the GameOn Expo coming back to Arizona. With them coming to Arizona, I'm going to be putting these things through their paces. We're going to be trying to get some more panels to record. I don't know how successful we'll be this year, but we'll try to move forward with that. So the next couple weeks, you guys might be hearing more of that kind of stuff. So just be aware of that. If you're expecting a lot of binaural stuff, panels typically don't record well with binaural audio. So most likely those are going to be parabolic dish and mono microphones and things like that. But getting back to why I brought this up here, this setup here, I actually put one of those little nubs that allows me to holster it. That allows me to holster the entire dish assembly on my side hip there. Makes it very easy to move around with this big bulky item that typically you wouldn't use that for, because this dish is actually designed to be put directly onto a camera and used in place of like a lapel microphone. So say a target that you can't lapel, like if you're at a wedding or something like that and the bride doesn't want to have something on their dress, you could use something like that to collect the audio from far distances away. I typically use it for other purposes. I don't use it as a lavalier. I just use it more for nature recording and panel recording. I'm planning on maybe getting a bigger one. It is a big investment. I don't know if I'm going to do it yet, because these parabolic dishes, the true parabolic ones, are very, very expensive. I've been looking to see if I could get one on eBay. There's one that's the same company that makes it, but it's still ridiculously expensive. Like it's over $2,000 for the next size up from this one. This one, if you bought it full price, is about like $500-ish, I think, $580. It comes with a microphone and a whole bunch of other accessories for it that I don't actually have here. Most of those accessories I kind of have off to the side, as I've replaced it with better things that work better with it. But you might be able to find this on eBay for cheaper. That's where I got mine for $199 for this thing. I had to put all the extra stuff into it together. That didn't come with that price. That was just for the plastic dish, the wind muff, and the microphone, and a bag that came with it. Other than that, that's pretty much what I was going to be talking about with the belt here. The belt system is very nice just because when I need it, I can put it on. When I don't need it, I can take it off. So it allows me to break away from all of my equipment very quickly. Something that you can't do if you actually use one of these things it puts on your belt. You'd have to take your whole belt off, and you'd have to take out all the pouches and other things off of your belt if you want to be free from your equipment. Whereas this, if I needed to sit down for whatever reason, if I needed to take it off, if I wanted to get into the car or something like that, I could easily just unbuckle this, grab it in my hands, sit down in the vehicle or wherever I'm at, and when I get to my destination, I can put it back on again. So that's more the reason why I evolved away from these singular use kind of items, putting them onto your belt just on their own and not with the belt system. So the belt system does make it more convenient to do that. Now, the belt system does have its own caveats and things. I wish that it was built a little bit better. Like this piece right here, this actual part that holds your camera is very high quality. Like you can feel it. It's good stitching on it, and it has padding, and it feels real good when it's on your hip because it hugs your hip and is able to hold up the weight. The things I don't like is the strap that's on the side here and the stitching that kind of goes along the edge of that. It is a little weak on the weak side on both sides here. This is where it terminates, it looks like, as well. So this belt just goes up until this point, and then they stitch it to here. It would have been better if this was just one solid piece and it went all the way through the bottom of the belt to then fish to the other side, because having it, this definitely limits the durability of it over time. I haven't had a problem with it, and I've had it for over a year now. But just know that your mileage may vary. If you're in a very heavy use scenario, that you might find it getting weak at those edges. And if this gives out, the whole belt is pretty much done. unless you want to really rebuild it and re-sew stuff on there. You could probably upgrade it to more like a military kind of belt material for it, which would make it work a lot better, in my opinion. It'd be cool if this Maxpedition company kind of did a collaboration with them, because their stuff is very, very well stitched. On the most part here, they use like parachute stitching techniques, which has like a little cross on it and then an outline. So their stuff is very durable. I wish Spider stuff was a little bit more durable on that. Overall, I can't really complain about it though, because it has held up. It just might be a problem for some people if you're going to be using it in a heavy use scenario, or if you're constantly rubbing up against something that could damage the threads that are holding this together. It does have a nice pad on it. So this pad here is real good at giving you padding on the opposite side from your heavy item. It helps you kind of leverage and balance the belt a little bit. And with all this other stuff on here, and a tripod or a model pod if I'm carrying it, or my dish, that really allows you to balance out the weight on the belt, making it a little bit easier to move around with it, so you're not constantly like drug off to one side. It allows you to really have a balance when you're moving around and doing stuff. Another thing about the belt, you can kind of hide it under the shirt because of how stealthy it is. It doesn't look and draw that much attention for the most part. But the second you have everything loaded up on it, it definitely draws a lot of attention. There will be people looking at you when you put it on, because it does almost look like a gun holster. So you have to kind of be aware of when you're looking at stuff like that, that you're not going to be causing too much of a shock, and there might be people flipping out if you do put this on. I haven't had any troubles with it, but just be aware of that if you're putting this on in certain places, you will draw lots of attention. For the most part though, if you're walking in a crowd or at the fair or something like that, most people aren't even going to be paying attention or looking at it. So you could probably get away with it fairly easily, but just something to keep in mind, that when you start putting on professional looking gear, you start to draw more attention when you're out and about. So if you wanted to be stealthy, something more like this would probably be your case. Just know that all the caveats that come with this compared to having the actual full belt system. Now these belt systems, I think it runs right around $130 for it, and it does come with a special plate that you could put on the bottom of your DSLR. I think there's 3 different variants of the plate, and then after that you can get these little nubs, or you can get the tripod adapters separately that allow you to kind of hook other equipment and accessories to your belt. Overall though, I'm happy with the belt. That's a little bit more of the talk about this equipment. Maybe in the future we're going to be talking more about other specific equipment items, but today I just wanted to talk more about the belt. We still have other things we could talk about with some of our other equipment, like this parabolic dish setup. This is definitely probably a video on its own and how that all works. The Osmo Pocket 3, definitely something that could be its own video, and how that works. The star of the show here, the Zoom F3 with the SonicPresence microphone sets, this is definitely something that could be a whole video on its own. I do have some stuff I want to talk about between the binaural sets, since I've had it for a while, and this field recorder and the case that I've gotten along with it. So this is another good video that we could talk about in the future. And then the last thing we could really talk about, actually there's 2 more things we could talk about. Tripods, model pods mounting. We could make a video about that, like how we mount cameras and stuff, or how I mount them, I should say, not we. And the last part would be my little Fujifilm Instax camera. So this is my automatic glass. We could talk about this, and I could probably make a video about that in the future. Didn't really have a lot of topics I was thinking about covering this week, and with the GameOn Expo happening this weekend, I didn't really have a lot of chance to set up and prepare an actual real good video, so this is kind of why we're just improvising and talking about the equipment this time. So hopefully you guys found this video pretty interesting and exciting. In some ways, it's kind of a review. It's more of just my overview and how I do it. I'm not saying that what I'm doing is the right way to do it, but it works for me. I like its compactness, I like the workflow, and it makes things easier for me to do the things I need to do. Overall, I hope to see you guys next week. Next week we're probably going to have some coverage of some panels. I might get a binaural video out as well, like of the event itself, but we'll see what I'm able to capture. It's kind of up in the air until you show up and then figure out what you're doing kind of thing. So it's like you have a kind of idea and a plan, but something could always go wrong. You never know what could happen. There might be a time where I pull into one of the panels and ask to record, and they might just say no. So that could happen too. Some of the panels I was wanting to cover, there's going to be like a wrestling event or something like that. We'll see if I can capture at least some of that event. Maybe I can. There might be a lot of copyrighted music, which prevents us from getting good stuff from that. There also will be like a stage performance where they do music. I kind of have to stay far away from that stuff just because of the copyrighted stuff. Other panels I was thinking about joining, they're Rare, the company Rare, which made like GoldenEye and stuff like that. They're having like a reunion panel where they're all going to be up on stage and answering questions. So like the creator of GoldenEye, the composer Grant Kirkhope, and a couple other people that did music for some of the older Rare games on the Nintendo 64 era are all going to be there, and they're going to be doing just a presentation and kind of Q&A, I would assume, of their times working for Rare. I hope to be able to record that as one of the panels. The next day we have a couple YouTubers I want to collect. We're going to be sitting in on the panel for retail archaeology again. We're definitely going to watch those guys with Eric and their team, kind of what they do and how they collect videos for what they do, because they're another local creator here in Arizona. Another person that we're going to be covering would be Nintendo. He's a up-and-coming YouTube star for video games, like a lot of the retro games. He does a little bit of history channel. It's a pretty cool channel which covers a lot of the other obscure and weird stuff that video games have had in the past, mostly Nintendo themed, but he does branch into other areas from time to time. And the last one, there was another YouTuber, but I can't remember what he was focused on or for. But yeah, we have a couple plans for those on day 2. For day 3, we don't have much going on, so I might just take that time to kind of enjoy the event, because walking around with all this camera equipment, it does get a little tiresome, and you do draw a lot of attention as people think you're more professional than you actually are. Me sitting here with like 105 subscribers at this point, compared to some of these cosplayer people that probably have like hundreds of thousands of followers and things like that. My equipment is kind of outpaced where my actual position in the pecking order actually is. So, but I do like collecting this equipment. I do like working with it. It's some of my hobbies and the things that I like to do that makes me feel good about what I do. Some of the stuff about me is, in my past, when I was in high school, I did go to the East Valley Institute of Technology for video production and broadcasting. I never ended up doing anything with that certification. It did help me in some of my other jobs, being able to make like instructional videos and stuff and promotional videos for different organizations that I've worked for in the past. That makes it makes it worthwhile overall. So it was fun with that, but as technology and things continue to evolve, you have to kind of keep up on this, otherwise it becomes dull and eventually you become rusty with it. So to keep up on things, this is why mostly I'm trying to do this channel. I'm doing this channel not because I like doing what I do for the most part. It's just kind of a cool thing that allows me to keep my skills up. And apparently there are people out there that like listening to this stuff. About 100 subscribers worth, so at least there's somebody out there that listens to the weird trips that I make to the store or walking in parks and getting sounds and stuff. So there's people out there that do enjoy that stuff, and I appreciate you guys for joining in and watching from week to week. It makes me feel good about this, because I don't really make anything off of this. It's just more of a hobby at this point. Other than that, appreciate you guys. See you guys next week for some panel recordings. Maybe we'll have some binaural stuff. Maybe we won't. It just all depends on what I'm able to get this weekend. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This is the first of several that we're going to be covering equipment. I don't know if they're going to do them back to back. Probably not. But at some point when I'm weak on content for a week or don't have anything lined up, I might come back and sit down and sit with one of these other equipment items that I have here and talk more about it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys will like and subscribe to the video. And again, see you next week and have a great day. There's a lot of talking. Bleh.